Her two sons, Scott and Tracy, went ginseng hunting in the woods, and they never returned.
They ran the guy the day before on the mountain, and they were like, hey, listen, this is our patch, this is our mountain, ain't nobody hunting this but us. We catch you again in here, we're going to kill you.
My boys, somewhere, I don't know where, but they're there, up on that mountain.
So 4 years ago, two brothers went ginseng hunting out in these woods, and they never came back. What's the most you've made?
The most I've made? About 10 grand maybe.
I believe that's where my boys are. They're either up underneath concrete or they're up underneath the pond.
Scott and Tracy's brother Jason has been searching for them for years. He takes us ginseng hunting and teaches us about the elusive root. Their mother, Donna, welcomes us into her home to share her heartbreaking story.
Somebody knows something. My boys didn't go away for nothing. They're gone, and there's got to be an answer why. I'm going to keep on praying. I mean, I'm not giving up.
For years, ginseng hunting was their family's tradition.
But you can dig as much as $1,000 a day, can't you?
If you wanted to, if you find it.
Find it, if you're
but
lucky.
But it takes 4 pounds of green to make a pound of dry. After you get it all dried up, it will be
4 pounds is a lot to dig.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
Shane, a friend of the brothers, shows us where their vehicle was found across the street from where it's believed they entered the woods.
Yeah, they parked right here behind this truck, like right off the road, and they would either come up and go this side, or they would either walk down and come up, and then either way they hit the mountain range and they never came back out.
Then, 2 months later, their car was found burned. Who lit their car on fire and why? It's been 4 years. These two brothers have been missing, leaving a family devastated with no answers. So we're going to dive into the story and the days leading up to their disappearance of Tracy and Scott Hawkins. I never really knew much about ginseng, except for I know it's a flavor in one of my favorite teas, Arizona tea. A quick research will show that Native Americans use the root as a stimulant and to treat headaches, fever, indigestion, and infertility. Wild ginseng was similarly prized throughout Appalachia as an aid for digestion and for giving users a boost of energy. It's even been promoted as an aphrodisiac.
But I knew Saturday morning come, they was nowhere around, they didn't call, they didn't nothing. So my grandson, he went out hunting with Shane to see if he can find them. Of course, there's problems, but that happened.
Dude come out with a pistol in his belly, talking about, what are you doing here? Say, hey, his uncle and his dad's missing. We're just trying to cut them off and see if you see anything, because we're just going to go over the backside where it circles around. It's literally at the backside of it. So if they went up and over, they'd be in dude's property. And say he told us the same thing. Said if anybody's found here, they're going to die here. But see dudes get away from here. And I mean, now the guy's supposedly missing, and he sold his property up there.
They had told the boys that they were supposed to watch the property, that they were hired to take care of the property, to watch it. They had to leave, and if they didn't leave, they'll take care of it.
And that property, I don't care to tell names, because that property owner has now fled the country and he lives in the Philippines.
I can't understand why he left. And he was the main one that was such a ruckus about the boys being on the property. For him to have left, you know, he's got family. He's got a business, got grandkids. I don't understand. You know, I can't judge, say that he has done something, but why go where he went?
He's made himself look guilty. And we were told, you know, different rumors go around and stuff, but we were told right after the boys went missing, the homeowner, property owner, poured a brand new pad of concrete.
Yeah.
We were told that's where they were at. So I think since he's left the Philippines and the detectives know that he's gone, they've kind of interviewed the ex-wife and the son, and I'm hoping things are moving forward. They don't really tell us a whole lot, but I'm hoping they at least can search under that concrete. I have myself went out and spoken with the new property owners, the new homeowners, and they gave us permission. They said, do what you need to do. We don't want anything tore up, you know.
Yeah.
Well, there's a portion that
there's a pond
There's
too.
a pond.
That was
Okay.
dug the same week that they
And-
went missing.
Nobody couldn't touch it, couldn't go near it. And
Yeah.
it was, he had, the property owner hadn't, what you call, man-made it during the week that the boys were gone or went missing. To me, I believe that's where my boys are. They're either beneath concrete or they're beneath the pond.
One of the first written texts covering the use of ginseng as a medicinal herb was written in China in 196 AD, describing it as a superior tonic. The herb was not used as a cure-all medicine, but more specifically as a tonic for patients with chronic illnesses. The pharmacological effects of ginseng have been demonstrated in cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and have been used for promoting immune function, central nervous system function, relieving stress, and for its antioxidant activities. For a time, it became the backbone of the Appalachian economy, but after decades of overforaging and mass extraction, wild ginseng is no longer plentiful. These days, going to dig ginseng, or sang, is less of a pastime and more of a hunt, with locals hiding their favorite secret spots to preserve what's left of the plant. Anyone removing wild ginseng plants or any of its parts from national forest lands without a permit may be fined up to $5,000, given a 6-month sentence in federal prison or both.
I still don't know what's happened to my boys, but something has. I mean, my boys would have been home. Even Friday night, my boys would have called me, Mom, the old truck's tore down. And they called it the old truck too. This has happened to it, and it was the tire thing. It was messing up. Everything about it was messing up. But
So they would have been having some vehicle problems that would have caused them to broke down,
yeah,
possibly.
what I would thought would be wrong. But by the time my granddaughter went down to hunt for herself, they was nowhere walking on no back road. I knew then that something's wrong.
Jason Hawkins has been searching for his brothers for 4 years and hasn't given up. As kids, they would camp for days in the woods, and it brought them closer together.
I know without a doubt they were here 2 days because there's camera footage of them. On Thursday at 6:36 p.m., they have a photo of them walking off of this ridgeline, coming out of the woods, which is the day before they went missing. Once they got home that night, they told Mom that they were going to go back the following day and go ginsenging. They told her the same thing in the morning. They'd already called a ginseng buyer about it. And their car was parked right over in that area. And did they actually get out and go in the woods and go ginsenging that day, or did something else happen to them? That's the answer that we're trying to find right now.
This is what you call,
A 6-prong?
yeah, see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's rare, right?
Yeah, and right up here in the middle, that's where the berries has been.
Donna tells me about strange dreams she had right before her sons went missing. A phenomenon she calls funeral flowers.
I felt that. Which I told Cassie about the dreams that I had. Scotty had got upset with me when he knowed about if I'd tell him about something that I dreamed or about the flowers I smell. I call them funeral flowers. I had already told him about smelling funeral flowers when I come up on the porch. And he would be upset. His Mom, stop that. I don't want to hear it. Then I did dream, like I said, in a big field. I love roses. But the field had all kinds of flowers, roses, just oodles of them. And Scott and Tracy were standing at the very end of the field. And it's just like they had smiled and just disappeared. Then when I had the dream about the girls, they hit the same vehicle, they had flipped down there in front of Walmart in my dream, and I couldn't get them out. And then I don't know if that connected with I was being shown that my truck was going to be burned. I don't know, but I just know that there's people at the dream I had, which I told Scotty about the dream. I had told Scotty about it, and he fusses on me because I dream stuff, and something usually does happen. I mean, may not be exactly like it, but something does happen, and it bothered him, and it's a terrible thing. knowing that you're not going to be able to tell them no more till the end of time. I mean, it's come close for the year, 4 years coming up, and I'm not going to let my boys be forgotten. If I have to get out there on the side of the street and just scream, I want my boys home. I want to know what happened to my boys. Something happened, I don't know what, can't explain what. I can imagine what things that in my mind somebody done to them, but to know the fact, I don't. Something happened to them. My boys be here now. They'd be here, taking care of me. And I know something's happened. Like I said, I don't know what.
The first day that they went in, it was either Monday or Tuesday. There is no camera footage of that. That's coming from what they told my mom and also from my nephew, who's since passed. But we know for a fact that they were in there for either Monday or Tuesday. We know for a fact they were there in those same woods on Wednesday. That's the camera that shows that. And then they were there on Thursday. And then again, they were planning to come here. Tuesday or Wednesday, they had they didn't let dogs out. Dogs chased them out of the ridge. And again, this is going off of what Scott and Tracy told my mom and what Justin told me before he passed. And then on the Thursday, they were actually someone. I won't claim that they shot at them. A weapon was fired towards them, their direction, which ran them out of the woods on that day as well. And that's documented. That's a police report that actually states that. If they went back in there, which is what I actually believe that they did, I don't know for sure they went to that same area. There's a lot of other areas that we could have done, but there were searches. It took me a week to do the first search with the police. I'm not saying the police didn't go talk to the landowners and try to do something, but I was threatened to be arrested because they wouldn't allow me to walk into the woods. They told me they would arrest me if I did. Finally, after the first week, I won't name names, but the actual detective that was covering it, very great guy, he came down full force, had 2 cadaver dogs with us. They took 2 teams. Unfortunately, we only got about an hour and a half to 2 hours of a search that day. I don't know what happened. I just know there's radio chatter, and they called us off of the property. I showed them that day on Friday, which would have been the 13th. I showed them where my brothers had dug ginseng. My brother Scott would break limbs as he walked. He's the only one in my family that did that. I showed them where my brother had broke branches. We also found some cans and some honey bun wrappers, which is something that my brothers would take when they would go ginsenging. We found all that stuff that day.
Did anything happen the day before they went missing that was strange, that you overheard?
Well, that evening they'd come home, and my grandson, he was saying stuff, and I was trying to get information from him, and finally Justin had went back there and told the boys, and Scotty got upset with him and told him, said, stop, said, don't tell Mom stuff, it upsets her. And then they kept on talking. Of course, I was sitting right here and trying to listen, but I do know that they had run into some people. I heard that part, and they told me that they had to leave, because if they didn't leave, they were going to suffer the consequences. And I was trying to put 2 and 2 together, what they were talking about. Well, the boys got into it, saying that nobody wasn't allowed to say, hey, you can't be here, you can't do this, you can't do that. Of course, and it was Tracy. Tracy's very type that will argue. You know, he'll want the last words, what I'm trying to say. But I was telling Scotty that they couldn't have been told to leave. But anyway, the 4 people that I mentioned, they had told the boys that they were supposed to watch the property, that they were hired to take care of the property, to watch it. They had to leave. And if they didn't leave, they'll take care of it.
Is it this right here?
No.
This?
Nope.
Oh gosh. Is it this tiny thing right here?
Nope.
Wow,
Go
this is
over
a
in
lot
that,
harder than I
right
thought.
under the thorns right here. Kind of look in that direction.
Oh, it's
It's 2 3-prongs is what it is.
this?
Nope. That's a tree, a baby sapling. Go to the right of that.
Holy mackerel. This?
Nope. That's actually poison ivy.
Oh my gosh. Get it shown.
Okay. So look in that vicinity right there.
And it has berries on it.
Yeah.
Is it under this stuff right here?
Okay. I'm just going to point to it.
Yeah. I don't see no berries.
There's 2 of them, and right here's the berries. Right here's the 3-prong, and right here's the baby 3-prong. See the berries under there now? See the berry stem in the middle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then this one's actually got a lot more berries on it. See the? Mm-hmm. So those berries will turn beet red, and the plant will turn yellow as the time goes on. And then there is one more. So now that you're looking at that,
Yeah.
so see those 2? The other one is just a 2-prong.
A 2-prong. So those.
And the reason why they call it a 3-prong, see how it's got the one main stem, and then you got 1, 2, 3, and you got 5 leaves. Sometimes you'll have 3 leaves on them, depending on how. This is very young ginseng, is what this is.
Wow. And so the 2-prong, is it this one right here?
Nope, it's a little bit come more this direction.
I don't want to like step on it. Is it? Let's see. That? Wait, no, it's not that. Oh, I see. It's right there.
There you go. So, yep.
Yeah.
So it's right there. And sometimes 2-prongs don't have berry stems because you're not supposed to dig these. That's why. And also see how this one has 3 leaves, or actually it has 4 leaves. Typically, when ginseng starts to mature and get old enough to dig, it'll always have 5 leaves. So these plants, see how small this is, and see how small the 3-prongs are. The 4-prongs can get up to here, and they'll be this big around, and
Really?
up to my waist. When you find really
Yeah.
old ginseng.
So this is not even worth really digging up.
No,
Right?
I would no.
Not
if
at
I would
all.
have passed this in the woods, I would not have dug it.
Yeah. It's so, now that I've seen how it looks like, I can see how hard it is to look for it because it's blending in with all of these different plants. you
It
know?
does, but there's 2 quick ways to when you start learning ginseng.
Yeah.
Is this. So you started pointing at all this stuff. You see how this has, you see how that has a wooden stalk to it? When you look at ginseng, it's all plant. See how there is no wooden stalk?
Yeah.
Because these are just baby saplings and bushes and thorns. And also, if you look around, I know it's hard to see, or hard to describe it really, but there's no other plant that's really that color. See how that stands out from everything else?
It's like a lighter green.
Correct.
I see that. I do.
So when you find ginseng like that, it's pretty easy to spot. So what a ginsenger would do is, like, if this was the woods you were going to hunt,
Yeah.
if you pan that way, this is technically like a little holler right here, or a draw or a spur. A ginsenger would, if there's 1 or 2 people, you would walk up one side of the holler as far as you can go until there was no more ginseng, and then you would flip and come back down the other side. Because ginseng loves to grow in the hollers, the darkest, deepest, wettest parts is where it loves to go. After that, there was a huge outpouring from Anderson County and Campbell County. People from Kentucky, volunteer searchers came down. All the local search and rescue teams around here, all the way up to Jellicoe, wonderful people. They all came down. There was searches for weeks. I was part of every one of them. We were not technically allowed back on the property to where the camera footage was taken and where I found where they had been digging ginseng. But there was several of them that came here and did that. And it was hours upon hours. They really didn't, there was dogs that came, both kind of dogs, ones that searched by scent and cadaver dogs. There was one particular day where a dog hit on an old car in the junkyard over here. That took hours. Found out it was just a dead possum or a dead raccoon. And there was after all those searches, there was no sign of them, nowhere. And I came down, started talking to people. I was getting some different stories, different information. They potentially may have went in, or maybe they didn't. We've had somebody that cuts most of the lawn all around here. He made the statement that he saw them go into the woods on Friday. Then there's other people who say that they actually left from here and went to another house, but the car was still here. So all that was odd to me. The next big thing I'll explain is, so there was a huge search done for my brothers. They even brought a helicopter in, they used drones. They searched every piece of land possible. But to my knowledge, unless the local law enforcement were searching the main piece of property where there was proof that my brothers had been, the search teams were not allowed. They were briefed every day. Here's the outline of the property, the 60, 50, whatever acres it was. You will not cross those boundaries. So that's the truth as I know it as a family. Now, did the police go do something special after that one day where I had 2 hours? It's possible they did, but if they did, they never told us as a family that they did.
Why do you think that they avoided that area?
I always, I heard some of them talking. Some of them said they couldn't get a warrant. There wasn't enough for a warrant. And out of all the property owners, the next big ridge over here, going past this one, you can't see it right here, but this is the main ridge. But once you get behind there, there's more ridge lines. There's subdivisions back there. Every single person, landowner that we ask, that I did a personal search with my family, my cousin Cassie, all my other cousins and stuff, and even some of the local search and rescues, they all always, it was immediate. Do whatever you want to do. But this one particular property, we were never allowed.
And one of the search dogs really wanted to search that land that they couldn't go on, right? I thought I heard.
Correct. We, as a family, well, I won't say we, my cousin Cassie got in touch with this wonderful search organization called EquiSearch. They have a lot more assets than what local, small town police agencies do. So they came down, and I think it was like a week that they were here, but when they were here, one of the days they had a cadaver dog, and it was another one of those dogs that was supposed to be really, had a really good pedigree and was supposed to be really good. It was the same thing. I was with them. I showed them the easiest way because I didn't want them to kill. I know how to cut through the woods, hit the logging roads, and keep you from killing yourself walking up through there. Mm-hmm. So I got them right to where the photo, or almost to where the photo was taken. But again, they were briefed, you can't do it. But the dog that was searching that day, the dog wanted to go, and the dog owner had to physically restrain the dog to get the dog to come back. And then that was the end of it.
Yeah, they would have went this way because they always told me, you never come out where your vehicle is if you got a patch on you because somebody's always trying to rob you. So they would come out a little bit down, that way they could have seen, had enough come over. But from right here, this thins out. There's nowhere you can go except for to another subdivision. So they had to cut and go this way to where it thickens up and it starts hitting ridges. But they were from here, and they knew these ridges. It's not like they were going to get in there and get lost and not know where to go. They were mountain boys. They knew where they were going.
So you went the next day after they went missing over to where you thought they might have come out at.
Yep.
And that's the property that you had the issue with being threatened.
Yes. They ran the guy the day before on the mountain, and they were like, hey, listen, this is our patch, this is our mountain. Ain't nobody hunting this but us. We catch you again in here, we're going to kill you. So my only thought is, this is a personal opinion because I used to be a convict, I think this way. I would go back in early that morning and pick what you can and run and go, and they knew they were coming and they never came back out.
I interview Justin, an avid ginseng hunter, to the North Carolina region.
Why do people ginseng hunt?
Well, a lot of people do it because they're broke, so it's a good way to make money. A little bit of money before Christmas or something like that, but there's a lot of people do it for just the sport of it because they've always done it. Like, that's kind of the way I do it. I love digging it, and if it was 10 cents a pound, I'd probably still dig it,
How much money can you make, like, in terms of pounds per dry or wet?
In this area here, you're gonna make, for wet pound on average, you're probably looking at about $200 a pound for wet, and then 3.5 wet pounds makes 1 dried pound on average. So you're looking at, whatever that might be, like $700 up to $1,100, somewhere around in there per pound for a dried pound.
What's the most you've made?
The most I've made for a whole season, maybe about 10 grand, maybe something like that.
That's a lot for finding a plant in the woods.
Oh yeah, that's quite a bit. That's what makes it fun, you know what I mean? But it's just kind of, like I said, it's just like a big scavenger hunt, pretty much. So in the fall, when everything starts to die out and it starts to change, the leaves starts to change. The leaves turn like this brilliant gold color. It's kind of like more goldish yellow than anything else in the woods. So it kind of really stands out. It's like a red flag, but gold, I guess you could say.
And are you supposed to leave the red berries in the ground? Yeah, you have
What the old timers say is you plant the berries back where the parent plant was. A lot of people take the berries out of the woods and plant them back in their own yards or whatever, like that. But which hinders the wild growth, you know what I mean? But they say, the old timers always said that the plants did better if they were planted within 50 foot of the parent plant, is what I was always told when I was a kid. So, you know, and you just kind of scratch the surface. Each berry has 2 seeds. You just kind of scratch like the leaf litter back, and then you just kind of squeeze the seed or the berry, and the 2 seeds pop out. But it takes up to 3 years for it to germinate. It actually stratify is what they call it. It has to stratify to the dirt, so it can take 3 to 4 years before it even start growing. So then by then that seed done washed down off the bank and carried off by turkeys or deer or who knows what, you know what I mean? So no telling where it'll end up at. But but once it starts growing, it takes about 20 years before you get to mature to where you can harvest it. It takes a long time for it to grow. It grows very slow. That's why it's so hard to, everybody goes and wipes it out in one area, and it's all these little ones come back, and then 2 years later somebody comes back and starts digging all the little ones, and that's what knocks it out, basically. You know what I mean? So that's what will kill it out eventually. And it'll always grow in that spot, but it takes a long time for it to get to, you know, mature heights and stuff. So, and 3 and 4 prongs is the only things you want to dig. Like anything below that, then you can't dig them. As long as you are where you're supposed to be and allowed to be, you should be fine. You know what I mean? But like, you never know. You get in somebody's patch, and I mean, I've seen signs in the woods before that says ginseng hunters will be shot twice. I mean, like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, you know what I mean? You don't want to get caught doing it. Because, I mean, first off, it's a major fine. It's like $25,000 fine per root if you get caught doing it. I mean, it can be up to that, especially like on the parkway. You know, the parkway, it's got big plants on it, like real big roots, and like an abundance of it, you know. And a lot of people go up there to hunt, and it's like you get caught up there, they'll throw you under the jail. I mean, it's the only federally protected species of plant in the world. So I mean, it's protected worldwide. You know what I mean? So.
Well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's a root that grows, you know, in the ground, and you got to dig for it, and it grows in different places. And if you're a very ginsenger that really is a ginsenger, there's a lot of mountains you got to go, a lot of rough logs, it's hard to get to it because the ginseng is further back than it is closer back to the road, because people would want to get what's near the road, keep them having to go so far up in the mountain. Now the boys wasn't like that. They just kept on going and going and going. But it's a root of its own. Like I showed you on the tree over there, it is something that it's beautiful, especially in the fall of the year when it turns around at the edges of the leaves. It looks like gold to me. I mean, it's something other that if you get it in your system, I did, till I got to where I couldn't do it no more. I couldn't do it no more.
How much money can you make from it?
Quite a bit. Well, like at the very beginning of the year, normally it takes 4 pounds of green, and if you dried it, it takes at least 4 pounds of green to make a pound of dry. And that's a lot of walking to even get the 4 pound green. And you can, you know, like Scott and them would get it and put it in the refrigerator till the next day, and then they'll sell the green. And because they'd put it in the refrigerator. But it's now got more expensive. It goes through, you know, sometimes of the year it's high, and sometimes of the year it all depends on how people want to buy it. If they want to give more money for it, they give more money. Which Scott and them were good about ginsenging. I mean, they was good at it. Scotty always said that he could smell it, and he probably could. Because I don't know, but he always said he could smell ginseng. And it does make a lot of money, but you got to devote that walking and that heat, and there's just a lot that goes with it. A lot of people don't ginseng like they used to. They just don't. They don't. The younger generation don't do as much, I don't think, than the older generation. There's a lot of the older generation still, but I can't no more. I wished I could, but I don't know.
And you can make like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, the last year that I sold it, and believe you me, I walked it. I sold it for the dry. I got over $700 a pound dry, but it took me all year, or all during that time, ginseng time, to get up that amount, to get that amount of money. Now the boys, back when I got to where I couldn't ginseng no more, couldn't do the mountains, they would take each day, Scott, Tracy, and Justin, they'd give me an ounce or two to put back, to dry for me, just for me. And that's my ginseng. They'd always made sure that they'd keep an ounce, because Scott and them sold it green normally. But they knowed at the end of the year what I put away, I'd dry, and then I'd go sell my part, you know. Then usually I just go ahead and divide it, sell my part when I dry it, and then I just divvy it out, save me a little, and then give it the rest of them. Because it's them who hunt the mountains to get it. But the man did leave, and he's supposed to be in the Philippines. I'm not sure, I don't know. I just what I've been told. I reckon, to my understanding, the detective that's working on it is really getting involved to find out. Because he's been very, I mean, to me, he's got very devoted with it. So, but there's a reason for them not to be where they're supposed to be. My boys just didn't just disappear. They didn't do it. I mean, my boys supposed to have been home that night. And they didn't show up, and then that night when it came past 6:30, I started getting a little worried, because that old truck of mine was fixing to go down. Well, 11 o'clock came, and I called my granddaughter, and I said, did Scott and them come out? Did you see them? Has my old truck broke down? Or she said, I've not seen them, Mom, or Mama. And I said, something. Well, Saturday morning, they still hadn't showed, and I hadn't even called the person, which I can't mention his name, but that bought ginseng from them. He had even asked me, after 6:30, he started getting in touch with me, wanting to know if I talked to the boys, which I hadn't. So 11 o'clock come, no answer, and they're not here. I even get back in touch with him to see if they called or anything like that, and they said no. Next morning, I went to where my truck was supposed to be at, and it was there. But my granddaughter had already even went up on where my land's at. The boys wasn't up there, but the truck was where it was. I mean, where they set it down at, where they told me they was gonna put it. It was still there. But there wasn't no boys. They wasn't there. Because I even told them to go to the vehicle and see if they slept, went to sleep in it or something like that. And she had, and they said, no, they're not in there, Mama. So I don't know.
And how often did they go ginseng hunting?
Every day. Every day, yeah.
For
every day.
The whole year, even the winter time?
Well, no, it would last from August to, October. You can start selling it October, November or something, or you can sell it any time after August, I think 16th or something like that is when it opens up. But of course the boys, done it before then. But that don't give no reason for my boys to be harmed. I mean, that's no reason for nobody. I mean, God can bring that herb back, He planted it, He put it there on earth. That would come back. My boys been harmed, they don't come back.
If there is something that you could tell your boys right now, what would you tell them?
I miss them, and I love them. I mean, it's been awful. It really has. I don't want no parent ever to have to get up in the morning time and know that their child's missing. I mean, I've been following people that's missing, I post on it, and to find closure of it, to see that they're to where they could be at. We've had loved ones to go away since the boys been missing, been gone, and they had that closure. I've not got it with Scott and Tracy. And I'm praying that at the end of time that God will give me an answer before He calls me home. And if He don't, I still got Jason, Cassie, and a lot of loved ones out here that will keep on until they find out what happened to them. I know they're not coming back. They'll never be back. But that ain't the point. I just want to know what happened to them, to where I can do. I can't even have a burial for them, I think, until 7 years. And I don't want that time to even come. I mean, but it's coming, because it's already been 4 years. It don't even seem like it's been that long, but they've been missing 4 years. And I read on a lot of the posts where they've been gone 20 years, and they find them. Then I wonder, why can't my boys be found? I don't begrudge the ones that has found their loved ones all them years. You know, I don't hold that against anyone, which I'm thankful that they found them. If it took 20 years to find them, it's already been 4 for me, and it's been bad. I don't know how much more of it I can take without getting the answer. Somebody knows something. I don't know what, but somebody out there knows something, what has happened to my boys. And the only thing I asked, if, you know, you can go to the police without being told who you are. Somebody knows something. My boys didn't go away for nothing. They're gone, and there's got to be an answer why. And that's the reason why I'm going to keep on praying. I mean, I'm not giving up. And if people get tired of me posting, people get tired of me bringing it up, that's fine too. Like I said, if I have to get out there in the middle of the street. As each year goes by, I want them known. People may have forgotten, but I want to bring it back to their memory. My boys are gone. I want them home, I know they're not coming back in form, I know that, because my boys would be here. But something happened to them, and I don't know what. And I think that I believe my boys deserve some kind of dignity about them. They was raised hard, they never did have nothing. But my boys don't deserve to be thrown away like trash. And that's the way I feel like, oh well, there's 2 more gone. And that's the way I feel about it. I felt like that nobody cares. But then I read the post, and even that, just that one person that would care, that's one. I want my boys, I want an answer. May not be my time, but I've got to have an answer, because I could tell my church, the only strength I've got is trusting in the Lord and believing that He's going to give me an answer. And it says in His time, God will answer, but it does in His time. Then I'm only human, and I wonder, 4 years, no answer. It hurts. But I will know one day. I believe that.
If you know something, say something, and don't forget to share their story. I was very interested in Donna's story and what it was like to grow up in the Appalachian countryside.
I'm really curious about your childhood. How you grew up on the top of a mountain, you go
On
grocery
top of Terrible
shopping
Mountain.
once a month.
On top of Campbell Mountain. We'd walk down and come to school and walk right back up it. And we come off the mountain once a month, and we traded at what's the supermarkets up there? Used to be up there in Little Follett. And they used to be a gravel road. It wasn't 4-lane like it is now, but it'd take us all day long. We'd walk down, get it, and walk back up. Back when we lived in Barwaller, that's why I was telling you about the ice. Daddy would go, I forget where he bought it at, but the big old blocks of ice to put in ice boxes.
Yeah.
I thought I was rich, buddy. I mean, I really did. because we had them ice boxes, we had ice. But no, I was raised hard. You worked when I come home from school. Mommy'd always have our pinto beans. 9 times out of 10 is what we had. Bless them pinto beans. But anyway, she'd have supper ready. We'd get her clothes off. We'd do her homework. Then we'd go out in the field. When I lived on top of Carol. And that's the same way with where I live now with my boys, where I raised my boys at. They knew they had to come home, change their good clothes, do their homework, and get up in the garden. They either had to pull weeds, or pick the beans, or water the plants with my springs. They worked just like I did when I was growing up. I mean, that's part of life. Sometimes you can't get kids nowadays to do that. It'd be a little hard on them, but the boys were raised hard.
Yeah, kids.
Not have the luxury of that, of the light. We used coal oil lamps.
Wow.
I didn't even know what electricity was till I was about 13, 14 years old. Because we come off the mountain, we lived in a bar water, we didn't have no electric then, and we didn't have electricity. We had coal oil lamps. That's how we, many of a day, I've been sitting doing my homework, what little bit I did, because I wasn't too bright, but we'd use the coal oil lamps. That's how we did. That's hard living. And I believe if I had to go back to it, I could probably go back to it.
And what was marriage like? Like, what are some values of marriage? I know back then people stayed together through the hard times. Nowadays,
trust, love, honor each other. That's the way I take marriage is. I was married 50 years, and things were hard. Things were pretty rough, but to this day, I still love the kids as daddy.
how was it hard?
What do you mean?
Like, what were some things that were hard in your marriage?
Well, I worked the garden. When I'd clean houses for people like 18 to 20 years, I'd have the same people. But I'd make sure before I go to that job, I would get a bushel or two of beans already picked. It's time for me to go clean the houses. Then I'd come back home and either can them or break them up to dry them. Just different things. I mean, I canned, which I wouldn't do it now. I mean, it ain't worth it, with just me and whatever. But like I said, you either lived back in the last 10 years, things just got better advantage for people to live and have. But it still didn't bother me none. I mean, it didn't bother me. I mean, I knew that I had to put food on the table. I knew I had to can. I knew I had to make my own jelly, my own jam, my own apple butter. I canned 100, 150 cans of, had a big old tub out in the roadway, or we call it roadway. I had a big old tub, and I'd take my jars and everything with my beans and stuff, and I'd have my flour under it, and that's how I canned. I canned outside in the big tub.
What was your favorite thing to can?
Do my apple butter, different stuff, and just different things. I mean, I knew that I had to do it. When we got to where we got what we call a deep freeze or a freezer, like with my corn, I'd cut it off and bag it and have it for the winter. And like I said, with all the kraut, the chow I made, I canned the green beans, like I done with the apple butter and stuff. We had it for the winter, because I knew I could go down in. And that when my house burned here a while back after Daniel passed away, Scotty was mentioning, he was talking about all of the canned stuff I had left underneath the basement. And he's talking about how that where the house was burning. He said, Mom, can you imagine all them cans? Because you can hear at nighttime when that can, how the cans would ping, because that's when they would sell them. And which I left quite a bit up underneath the bottom of the basement before it burned. So it burned up with it, but I can't. I mean, I knew I had to do it. I knew my boys had to work. I mean, they'd work in the garden, because they got in trouble one time. It's Tracy Lynn, he got on the lazy side, not wanting to do his homework. And the principal called me. And I went over there, left my job, because I was carrying 2 jobs then. I was cleaning house, well, 3. I was cleaning house, working in a nursing home. Then I'd work at City Hall and clean up over that. Well, anyway, he called me, told me that he wanted to know, to come talk to him, and I did. He said, Miss Hawkins, he said, why is Tracy's not doing his homework? I said, he's doing his homework. And he said, well, no, he's not. He's telling us that when he comes home, he has to go to the garden. I said, yeah? He has to go to the garden? I said, why? And he said, well, he said that's the reason why Daddy ain't got his homework done. And I said, oh, boy. Anyway, he told me, he said, you know that is child labor putting your boys to work like that, right? And I said, well, you do know that my boys have to eat too, right? I said, they will work in the garden. They come home, they change their clothes. 9 times out of 10, I'd always have supper too. They'd eat, do their homework, and they'd get in the garden. I said, that's part of our life. And he said, well, I could, you know. And I said, well, do what you need to do. I said, I don't care, I'm sitting here, tell him, come on. But Tracy thought, I guess he could get by where he wasn't doing his homework. Me thinking that he was doing his homework, because I was already up in the garden. And he wasn't doing his homework, and he said it because he had to work in the garden is the reason why he didn't do it. So he about got me in trouble. Well, really, I wasn't afraid of it, because, you know, you put your children standard of life, what that they're going to have to do through the years after they get older. And it did, I guess, to a point, helped them, you know, but I wasn't afraid, you know. They ate just like I had to. I mean, did. But I do know that they learned the value of it, I believe. Now, Jason, the middle one, he don't like green beans. He don't. Even his kids, when they were growing up, they loved green beans. And Jason would tell me, I picked so many of them green beans, I don't even like them no more. And he wouldn't eat green beans. Now, he'll eat my shuck beans sometimes, but no, he's the type that they never, because he fooled with it so much, but that's all right. He had to eat. And he did clean his plate, because the boys were not, well, even before they went into the army or whatever, when you sat down to my table, you get what you needed, and you ate it. You didn't waste food. The boys knew not to waste food, because well, they'll tell you, we had to clean our plates. They'd have to clean their plates before they got up. If you got that, I mean, I didn't care what they ate. You know, I didn't care. But you better eat what you, instead of wasting. And they was pretty good about eating what they had on their plate. Well, Scott and Tracy, well, Jason never would do it. He'd say, yeah. But Scott and Tracy used to, it brings back good memories. After they would eat, wherever you may be at, boys, I'm going to tell on you. But they used to take and lick their plates clean and tell me that I didn't have to wash them.
That what?
I didn't have to wash them. They'd slick them clean after they ate. Then you don't have to wash them, Mom. They'd bring them over, which I did, but that was their thing, licking the plates. Jason did a few times, but he tried not be in trouble as much as. Well, him and the oldest one, Scott, used to take Tracy and put him on top of the garage. Because he had a mouth on him, you know, he's pretty mouthy. But anyway, I tell him that he's going to get a spanking. Well, anyway, they'd get him, put him on top of the garage, keep me a whipping him. They know they couldn't climb on top of the garage. Anyway, I noticed you would come down sooner or later. By the time that I got down, the time to get him down, I was over my med spell, but I still lined them up on the couch. I lined all three of them up, and I tell them to give each other a hug. Well, Tracy would say, I ain't giving this one a hug, and they would say, well, I ain't giving him a hug. I ain't going to tell them I love him. And I said, well, you won't get up until you do. Well, then I'd go back in and check on them. All three of them would bounce their head against the couch and fall asleep on the couch. But they still wouldn't tell each other they loved each other. But Scotty would say, Mom, just go ahead and whip me. Just go ahead. I'm not telling them. Oh, he had a bad habit doing that. Go ahead and whip me, Mom. I'm not going to. I don't love him. But they did sort of watch out for Tracy. They didn't want me to spank him or nothing because he was the baby and I couldn't get up on top of the garage. They used to, if I got mad at them, them I was going to really get them in trouble. I was going to tell their dad because they know not to mess with their dad because their dad, he'd turn them up. But anyway, they would get me, scoot the refrigerator out. I could see it. They'd scoot the refrigerator out and set me on top of the refrigerator. It scooted away from the cabinet because it went in between the cabinet, and I could got up on the cabinet or come down off on the cabinet. But they'd move the refrigerator way out to where I couldn't get near the cabinets. And they'd put me up on top of the refrigerator. And I'd just have to sit there until they decided, I guess, to let me down. Well, I finally jumped down. He about broke my neck, but I finally jumped down. But they used to do some crazy things, buddy. But it was still, you know, we were still family. It was hard on them, but there's just things that I could come back to memory that they done, and just crazy stuff. I'll be taking, when they be drinking, Scott and Tracy, they'd be drinking. Go to fighting. It never failed that they'd go to fighting. Well, one day I'd heard enough. Well, I got the broom and I whooped them. They were both dog drunk. Well, they finally went up in between the garden and the house, and I just let them sleep it off. Well, one got up, wanted to know why they had the pot knots on their head, or places on them. And then Tracy said, did you put this one on me? And they'd fight then who had the worst pot knot. But what made me mad, they didn't remember me whipping them when they were drunk. And so I said, all right, now just give you another one. Oh, no, Mom, no. You don't have to do that, Mom. You don't have to do that. But they'd fight over each other. They'd do it here, just crazy. Even that night they got into it. Finally, I told them, I said, you either want to shut up and go to bed, because they went to end up that situation. They'd got into it, but most of the time I just let them go. They'll get over it. Next morning, I'm sorry, bub. I didn't mean to say that, bub. Call each other bub. But I do miss them.
And they were close, right?
Yeah.
And
well, all three of them were close. Well, Jason married, he was, different places that he had to go to. But after he got out of the Army, when he got out of high school, he went straight into the Army. And so then he met his wife, and then they started having children, and we still come home and stuff like that. But up to the time to then, yeah, they was all three close. They was pretty close. I have to say that about them.
Do you think that ginseng hunting brought Tracy and Scotty closer together.
Yeah.
Because it was a fun thing that they could both do
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, because Justin, they all, well, you seen one, you seen the other ones. You know, we see them together. And that's what hurts me. I couldn't imagine. I've had a sister go away since they went away. And I couldn't comprehend for somebody to be harming them between my two sisters and see which one of them had to watch the other one be harmed. I just can't get beyond that. I just can't. I can't figure it out for Scott and Tracy what they must have felt if the other one saw the other one harmed. I don't, it don't comprehend in my head. But I know something happened. Like I said, my boys would be home. And I know that. They'd be home with me. Doing the same old crazy stuff they usually do, you know. They like to clean house and stuff. I have to give that to them. They done a lot better job than I've done, but my health's went a little bit better, down a little bit, and I'm a little bit slower getting things done, but Scott and them like to keep the house. Well, that morning, well, they left here that morning, I wasn't feeling too well, and they'd come in there, they told me that they'd cleaned the kitchen up, they'd cleaned their bathroom up, straightened the house up. Said, Mom, just relax for the day. And I said, well, he wanted to know about the pinto beans. And I said, I probably got some underneath. And I said, when I bend down, my head gets, I said, go in there and look. Well, he found me the pinto beans. So when they left, I put the pinto beans on. And I waited about 5 o'clock, a little after 5, and I started with the fried potatoes, or taters, and then I fixed the cornbread, which they weren't expecting that. Only thing, because they'd take pinto beans and eat nothing but light bread with it. They'd eat them for breakfast. All three of them would. They loved pinto beans, but them pinto beans stayed in the refrigerator for a long time. I couldn't do away with them. I had to eventually, though, but it just brings back memories. I wish they were here. But different circumstances, I wouldn't bring them back. There's a lot of issues. They had a lot of issues, and I wouldn't bring them back here to go through it again. I wouldn't do it, because it was rough. If I know my boys, they were just who they were. You saw them the same way every day. They didn't try to harm, didn't. But my boys, something has happened. And I have pleaded, cried, prayed for an answer. 4 long years is a long time. But it's coming. It may take another 10 years if I live that long, but it's coming. God's going to answer me. He promised me that when I was 9 years old. He saved me when I was 9. I'm 73 years old now. I'll not give up hope, because God will, in His time, He's going to answer me. I believe that.
What happened when you were 9?
I was saved. I was in church and God saved me. And I've stayed in church. I raised my boys in church. Now, I fell off one time just when Scotty went to the Army. I stayed out of church maybe 2 months, and that is the opposite feeling. You don't never leave. I mean, you can leave the Lord all you want, but the Lord won't leave you. And He chastised me because I felt bad. Because I just felt like, life was hopeless. I just not quit going to church. That wasn't the answer, because God chastised. I mean, I had to get back in church to make me feel like a human being again. I had to get back in church. Like I said, God don't leave you, and He ain't never. And I have never. I was telling Cassie about that. I have never And I told my daughter-in-law that. I have never felt revenge against God for him being gone. I've never felt that way about him. Because there's a reason for all things, and God has got the answer what has happened to him. I believe that. It's only hope that I've got, and there was a reason for it. Maybe he got tired about, like I said, the boys had a lot of issues. Of course, I don't have to, but they did. And I wouldn't want to bring them back to this world like this. I wouldn't want to. Because I know where Scott and Tracy's souls are. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. Because I seen Tracy wouldn't do nothing, but when he's in the choir, he would, when he's saved, he would stand in the choir and he'd just cry, stand and cry. And Scotty, wherever you are, son, I seen him shout. He'd go across the pews shouting. And if you couldn't feel it in him that young, I don't know. As my preacher used to say, if you didn't feel it, you can't wait. And they stayed in church. I made them go to church until they got of age that I guess by the time they got in Maine high school and then went in the Army, they didn't, I couldn't make them. But they did until that time. But I went to church and they went with me because I made them go. But did it help them? Yeah. Because I believe whatever has happened to them, I believe Scott and Tracy both know where to go to. I believe that they know to go to the good Lord. I believe that. They wasn't alone at the time. They may not have their mommy, but they had God with them. Whatever happened to them, they had the good Lord with them. I believe that. But I just wished I know what happened to them, where I can, I guess, rough to say, if the remains, to where I can have closure to put them up on the mountain where their daddy's at, where Scott's son is, and I need that closure. I need my boys brought home. I need to know an answer. And I will get it. I'm not giving up.
I feel like you will get that answer.
I think I will. Like I said, it's been 4 long years. Things has happened. I just figured, well, maybe this time, well, it never did happen, but maybe again, maybe this time.
Yeah.
Don't never know. Maybe somebody will have a heart eventually and say, hey, this is what happened. I don't hold bad things, ill things. Even whoever harmed my boys, I really don't feel ill at them. I wish they hadn't hurt them. I do that, but I can't control what people do. I can't do that. Would I want my boys harmed? No. Would I want anybody else's children harmed? No. I wouldn't want that. And whatever happened to them, somebody out there knows. It's been too long. Somebody knows something.